Welcome back to the Deeper 2025 podcast. I'm so excited that you have joined us today. Let me remind you to share this on social media, like the video if it's helping you, subscribe to the channel. We really want to know that these videos, as we walk through our deeper reading plan in 2025, are helping you to digest what you're reading. So today we come to Romans chapter 10. And Romans chapter 10 is a lot, in my opinion, like Romans chapter 8 in the sense that it's just a really great chapter. Let me read for us Romans 10, the end of verse 8 and end of verse 9. It says, "This is the message of faith that we proclaim. If you confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved." You know, Romans 10 reminds us that salvation isn't complicated. In fact, Jesus would say in the Gospels, you got to come to him like a child, with the faith of a child. So it isn't complicated. It isn't distant. In fact, Romans 10 reminds us that salvation is near, that if we confess with our mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in our heart that God raised him from the dead, you'll be saved. But here's the thing. Confessing Jesus is Lord is not just a simple word phrase that we use, Jesus is Lord. That's part of it, but really, it's a surrender of our whole lives to him. It's saying that Jesus is Lord, and when we say Jesus is Lord, what that means is he is Lord of our lives, meaning he is now the master of our lives. He's the ruler of our lives. And so we do things that please him, and we seek to please him in everything that we do. And that comes with us surrendering our lives to him and to his authority. You know, Paul reminds us in verse 13 of this verse, that everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. So it's an easy thing. It's a near thing. But he goes on to tell us that people can't do those things. They can't call on the name of the Lord unless they've heard about him, and they can't hear about him unless somebody preaches it to them. And Paul's not talking about a preacher here like me. Paul's talking about anybody that confesses Jesus would be a proclamator, a preacher of the gospel, people that talk about what Jesus has done, and we share and speak the good news. He says, listen, they can't believe, and they can't do those things unless they hear, and they can't hear without a preacher, and they can't have a preacher unless those people go. And so it reminds me just a couple of things. This chapter reminds me. First, we rest in the fact that the gospel is simple. It's easy. It's not complicated. It's very, very simple. We don't have to earn our salvation. What do we have to do? We have to trust, and we have to surrender. That's what salvation is all about. The second thing we see is that we've got to be bold in our witness. There are people in your life, and we come to this over and over again in this podcast, and it's just a thing that I continue to come back to as we read through these scriptures together, that Jesus doesn't want our faith to be a private faith. He wants our faith to be a public faith, and he doesn't just want us to live it out in front of people. He wants us to talk about what he's done in our lives. And so as we do those things, then people can be saved. Many of us have been fooled and deceived by the enemy to think that we can live our lives quiet and private, and our faith can be private. But at the end of the day, we find from Romans 10 that we have to preach the gospel. We have to speak the good news of Jesus so that other people can hear and other people can respond. But here's the other thing I see in Romans chapter 10, that salvation is not just a one-time event. It's a daily, ongoing thing. So we have to call on Jesus daily. You should be spending time in prayer with Jesus every single day. It's a relationship. It's not a religion. It's a relationship. It's not an event. And so we don't just come and surrender the first time. We surrender every single day. We call on Jesus to help us. We call on the Holy Spirit to walk with us through this life. And as we do that, and as we surrender, as we saw in Romans 8 just a couple of days ago, as we surrender, we find that that's where our salvation is. That you have a sense that you're saved. You know, I have this question all the time. Well, how do I know I'm saved? Well, is Jesus walking with you? Like, is Jesus walking with you, and are you walking with Jesus every day? Doesn't mean you're perfect. Doesn't mean you're not going to mess up. It just, you know, when you're saved and you're walking with Jesus and he's walking with you, you know. And so call on him daily. So rest in the simplicity of the gospel. It's a simple, simple gospel. It can be believed by anybody. Be bold in your witness. Speak about what Jesus has done and call on him daily. And you'll be on the right track to being the disciple that makes other disciples.